Is to be developments. We're going to go to page 55. This entire chapter here is about step 2. The entire chapter is about step 2. Page 54, it talks about, how many of us have not loved? Anybody here not loved before? Anybody here not admire a flower? Not looked up at the stars and go, holy shit, look at that? Right? Anybody here not worship something? Money, sentiment? Right? So you have the ability. You have the ability. So page 55, it says, actually we're fooling ourselves, for deep down inside every man, woman, and child. Is there men, women, and children in here? Mm-hmm. Right? Deep down inside every man, woman, and child. So if you fit into that category, man, woman, or child, right? Deep down inside every man, woman, and child, there's a fundamental idea of God. So a very basic idea of God. It may be obscured by calamity. What's the term obscured mean?
Hidden.
By calamity, what is calamity? Anybody got any calamity going on?
Disaster.
Craziness?
Disaster.
Okay.
Chaos.
Is anybody's mind just spinning out of control?
No. Not really.
Chaos.
Sometimes.
Chaos. Do you create the chaos or do you keep it spinning?
Usually keep it spinning.
Both.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's obscuring God. That's obscuring this power of mine. He may be obscured by calamity, by pomp, and by worship of other things. What is pomp? Is my ego. I don't need you. I got this. I'm good.
Worship of other things.
Leave me
Your job,
alone.
Your car, your money.
Worship of other things is, look at my big truck. Aren't I grand?
And that.
For faith in a power greater than ourselves, and in a miraculous demonstration of that power in human lives, are old as man himself. We finally saw that faith in some kind of God was part of our makeup, just as much as the feeling we have for a friend.
So every time you start reverting back to that old stuff, now you're blocking the sunlight of the spirit again, and that's why you got to keep doing inventory to get rid of shit, so you keep the lines open. Because it's not a permanent thing. It's not a
Everybody does
one
laundry.
time.
It's either dirty laundry in the wash or clean in the dryer.
So what she's saying, what she's realized, I saw a big puff of smoke come out of her, a light bulb come on, is that deep down inside every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. But it's obscured by calamity, by pomp, and worship of other things. What she's saying is that it's going to come back. It's going to rebuild itself. Just because you do it one time doesn't mean it's gone. That's the maintenance part of this.
That's become a way of life.
And that's the way of life, is to keep this clear, do inventory. When we do inventory, it says, God is as if the feeling of a friend. Are you guys there? What's the next line say? Sometimes we have to search fearlessly, but he's there. And where else in the program do you see the term search fearlessly?
Inventory.
Inventory. And in this inventory, what are you looking for? You're looking for the things in yourself that are blocking you.
The sunlight of the spirit.
You're looking for the calamity, you're looking for the pump, right? You're looking for the fear, you're looking for the sexual inventory. How does my actions affect other people? You're looking for these things that are blocking you from this God. And just because you do it one time
Right.
doesn't mean that you're good.
Check your box, you're good to go.
And it's because as long as we're in humanity, people are going to piss us off. As long as we're in a group of people, right? And it doesn't matter if you live with that group of people, eventually someone's going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed
Piss you off.
and piss you off.
It's like you empty out the garage, but then
You can
slowly
bend
start
that
putting
out,
some
though.
things in it.
Well, but it's going to happen over and over again. This thing is going to get packed up again. It's going to get packed up again.
Wow.
And what usually happens, and this is where we're trying to change this philosophy, is that what usually happens is somebody here will take the steps and they'll take them precisely by the book, and they'll make their amends, and they'll go on about their life, and they may even start to sponsor somebody, sit down and read the book with them, and then all of a sudden something in life happens. and they go back to default. Right, what is the default mode here?
Here.
Call your sponsor. I need to call 3 people to find out how to get rid of this. Right, I need to talk it out. I need to pray. That's the default mode that hasn't worked before in your life. That never worked before.
Default mode for me is drinking and using.
Or drinking and using. Right? But what we're trying to teach you, what this program is trying to teach you, is to be God reliant instead of people reliant.
Self-reliant.
Right? Instead of self-reliant. And it is so easy to go back into
God, yeah.
a protective mode, to go back into default, is to go back into what you already know, regardless if it works or not, is to go back to what you've been taught to do over the last 20 friggin' years, and you can't get 6 months together, right? But you're taught to go call me every day. You got a problem? Run it by 3 people. And so what are you going to do? Right? You're going to call enough people to get the answer you want.
Yeah, and you're gonna get it.
It's worse than that. I think you just default mode back to your.
And so we can justify our actions by just that. And so again, what we said at the beginning of this meeting is what we're trying to do is keep the 12 steps alive. And that is the fellowship of the Spirit. The fellowship of the Spirit. Our job is to get you to your God as quick as possible. And so with that, it is a routine. And this is what people don't understand. You don't call somebody to talk about your friggin' problems. You put them on paper and you analyze them and you analyze your fear and you follow the directions in the book of what it says to do. That's it. That's it. See, in this way we're becoming God reliant instead of people reliant. Was it page 96, I think? I could be wrong on the page.
What are you looking for? Suppose now you're making your signature.
It's 98 then, I'm wrong. It is not a matter of giving this in question
But when and how to give.
that often makes a difference between failure and success. I'm on page 98. The minute we put our work on a service plane, the alcoholic commits to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God.
Right.
So if somebody is telling you, you need to call me, I'm your sponsor, you need to call me and, run this by me, right? Don't make this decision unless you call 3 people. Right?
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, what does this say right here? Is that you start to rely on people rather than your dependence upon God.
Right. I like how it says nonsense.
That's just
Nonsense.
nonsense. That's the shortest sentence in the book.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. Commits to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God. He clamors, which means his mind is talking, for this or that, whatever this or that is, claiming he cannot master alcohol until his material needs are cared for. So I can't master alcohol until I get the right job, the perfect girl, the right car,
Off the street.
until I have off the street, until I have everything ready to control, and then I can do it.
Good luck with that.
Then I can do it.
I'm doing it as we speak.
It helps
Right.
a little bit.
Uh-huh. But the fact of the matter is if you're living under a bush in Balboa Park and you're not drinking, that's sober living. If you're living behind a dumpster, right, in some strip mall and you're not drinking, that's sober living.
Doesn't trees help off a heart?
Yeah, it's sober. If you're not drinking, it's sober living.
Trees are, bigger, canopy. It looks good.
Some of us have taken very hard knocks to learn the truth. So who in this room has taken hard knocks to learn the truth? Job or no job,
Me.
wife or no wife, house or no house,
Yep.
dog or no dog, job, right? We simply do not stop drinking so long as we place dependence on other people ahead of dependence upon God. And it is so easy to go in default mode because most people have been in AA for so long, in this spirit of the fellowship version, And I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it's twisted.
It says right here that it's wrong though. It says
Well,
right
but we
here
need
it's part.
people, right? Right, we need people. Right, like, when I see Aaron, I see Beatrice, I see Jeff and Johnny, I get to be reminded about this illness. When I pull a bottle of vodka out of somebody's boot, right, I get to be reminded of what this illness is. Because I used to hide my stuff in the shirt pockets in the closet.
I know.
Right? Right, I used to hide my stuff there. I mean, it brings me right back. When I did that this morning, I go, yeah, this is me. This is me. I mean, I love it when I walk into the bathroom back here, and a guy has the back of the toilet off. And I'm saying, how's your day going?
In the toilet.
I know, he's hiding a bottle back there.
Right.
I mean, every now and then I'll just go over to these toilets and pull the lid up, just see if there's a bottle in there. Right? Because that's what we do.
I've been checking every
I never
bathroom I
thought
go
of
into.
that.
But see, that's what alcoholics do.
Wow.
I mean,
Hide it in the toilet.
Hide it. Well, in the water. Well, because it keeps it cold.
Is that what it is?
There you go.
It's a nice place to store it. And besides, you go to the bathroom, what do you do first?
flush toilet.
Lock the door. But this guy forgot to lock the door.
Yeah. Couldn't wait to get to the toilet.
That's a whole nother thing.
And he's not living here anymore. So burn the idea into the consciousness of every man that he can get well regardless of anyone. So how do we burn into your idea, into your mind that you can get well regardless of anyone?
Trust God.
We just gotta, but then they don't do this. The fellowship doesn't do this. The fellowship says 90 meetings in 90 days. Right, call
Don't make
somebody
any
every day.
decisions in the first year.
Don't make any major
Don't
decisions
get
in the
involved
first
with
year.
anybody else for the first year.
Right? Right, so they're getting you to rely on them rather than upon God.
Right.
The only condition is that you trust God and clean house. That's it,
God can help me with restitution.
right? You trust God and clean house. So, but it's so easy because we're not, go to page 85. It's so easy to let up on a spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. Somebody here just did that recently. Rested on her laurels. We're headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We're not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Right, what does it say next?
We are, I've lost it.
To let up in the spiritual
Because every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities.
That's it. The vision of God's will into all our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. And when you're applying for a job, or when you're quitting a job, or you're thinking about a boyfriend, or you wanting to get a girlfriend, is this the thought you have?
Absolutely not.
No. Because we go to default mode. Yeah.
To me, it's not the old fellowship that because this was me. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to the whole fear, scared of everything, reliance on.
And then what did you do with that fear?
Imploded, I don't know.
Well, what you did with the fear is you diverted back to the old default point. Instead of going through the process that you were taught, and we've discussed this,
Yeah.
instead of going back, she's just talking about, she was just in extreme fear. Right? What is the default mode in fear?
Hide.
Run like hell and hide.
Yeah.
Right? That's the default mode. Right? That's what we're so used to doing. Right? What does the book tell you to do?
Tells you to write, pray,
List your fears.
and remove.
List your fears. Ask yourself why you have this fear. Isn't it because self-reliance failed you? So wasn't it because self-reliance failed you? Right? Right, so they tell you what's going on here. Right, and so we reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment and connection with them. We ask ourselves why we have them. And so they go down, and all men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let him demonstrate through us what he can do. We ask him to remove our fear and redirect our attention to what he would have us be.
It was like yesterday I lost my wallet
Mhm.
and had a job to go to with Paul. Usually when this would happen with me, I would call into work, freak out, be pissed off the whole day, end up losing a job which kept my wallet filled and kind of ruined the whole thing. But yesterday I would kind of ask myself, what is God trying to teach me? Got this new job coming up. Now, I live here, so stuff's going to happen. Am I able to just go to work and play my role as an employee instead of bringing Stanley to work, which is, freak out, and
Amazing.
ruining my job and possibly somebody else's day. But
Or-
I stayed calm.
Mhm.
I gave it to God. I put my trust in him. And just went to work and played my role as Paul's assistant. Got a ladder here, did this, and came back. My wallet was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to transpire like that all the time.
Yeah.
Right, but what is the big deal? Right, do you let it just destroy everything you're working on? Right? Or do you just say it's the way it is? What do I need you to fix this?
Yep, that's what.
So the
Right.
asking God what he would have us be part is
Yes.
like an answer happening in your head.
Yes, and so
that's
this
the
is where step
relationship you
2,
have.
this is where step 2 is so crucially important. In this entire development of this thing. You guys understand all this?
Yep.
Right? So
Give me
then,
an answer, right?
yeah,
Ask that.
where if you want an answer, it will come. Yes,
So
Deb.
how do you go about taking the time and explaining or opening your mind up to having it explained to you, like where God, like how this?
This is where this is a great question. This is where it's much easier to teach somebody who is brand new in Alcoholics Anonymous. It is much easier to teach somebody who's never been to Crash, who's never been to Wayback, who's never been to not Pathfinders, but who's never been to Salvation Army, who's never been to AA meetings. Right? This is why it's so easy to teach somebody who's never been here versus somebody who's been here for 20 years. If they've been here for 20 years, there's this Rolodex in your head, right? Because all these cliches, all these Rolodex start to go in your head. And you sit and you talk to this person, and you ask them a question, and you can literally see the Rolodex spinning in their head until it stops to where they think, okay, this is the answer he wants to hear. And they just spit out this answer. Right? And you ask them, why? And that just short circuits the crap out of them. Somebody said, well, just turn it over and just prayed about it. Right? And most of the time, what they're used to, they say, well, I talked to my sponsor and I prayed about it. Or I'm going to talk to my sponsor and I'm going to pray about it. Right? At that point, what they expect is the person who's receiving this message is going to say, that's good, you're doing the right thing. What happens when somebody says, well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? It short circuits the entire process. Because you are trained to do that very same thing that doesn't work. You are trained to do the same thing that doesn't work. Yeah.
Today, I got like another piece of what you do with the program. Actually, I really just completing how to do it right. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at that shit flying out of my head. I'm just like, okay, this is a personal God, and I should be getting an answer from my understanding, Like you were talking about, what would God say to us?
And so
if
as
we were
long as our
alone?
mind is filled with
That's
crap,
a good piece.
as long as our mind is
I
filled
didn't
with
get that.
crap, and it talks about this on page 66, where it says that that we allow these resentments to happen. We squander hours that might have been worthwhile, right? And when we do this, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the Spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns and we drink again. So you're killing yourself. You're killing yourself with the way you think. That's the bottom line. So with this, we're going to kind of open it up a little bit. Anybody got any questions? Aaron, you got some?
I'm good, Paul. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
when I got those DUIs, they said I had to go to a program. And for some reason I picked crap, of all places, and didn't know any better, you know. And did it 6 months, and everybody figured the counselors there, well, he ain't gonna drink, he's gonna sail off in his boat and have a good time. It was the first fucking thing I did when I got out of that damn place. It was like I programmed myself to get through that 6 months, you know. And I can remember sitting there going, God, it's only been a minute, you know, I still got another 3 months left. Fuck! So I had to sit down and program myself, and I had to force myself to do it. And of course, it didn't even shine, didn't work at all.
Right.
I have a question.
No
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Ruth?
hard to
Yeah.
put into words, I hope I can. All right, when the old thinking comes up with me, when I get it, I try to take a break, and then I pray about it, and then I write it down, and then I get the answer. Is that all right? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a little bit confused on
Absolutely, right, so
saying
this
that
is,
you pray about it.
well, no, this is about fear,
Oh, okay.
right, it's about fear. Right, so, I mean, if we go to page 133.
There's 3.
133. We are sure God wants you to be happy, joyous, and free. So does your God want you to be happy, joyous, and free?
Oh, yeah.
Or miserable and alone?
No, happy.
No, because that
And if
doesn't,
you gotta punish your God, maybe you got the wrong God. I'm just saying. Right? We're sure, so are you sure God wants you to be happy, joyous, and free? We cannot subscribe to the idea that life was a veil of tears. Though it was just that for many of us. It's clear we make our own misery. So do you make your own misery?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Right, when we became alcoholics, crushed by self-imposed crisis. Anybody here crushed by self-imposed crisis? God didn't do it. But it's clear that we make our own misery, God didn't do it. Avoid then the deliberate manufacturing of misery. What might be a good way to manufacture misery?
Or worry about something.
Or you talk crap,
That
and
may
you're
not
so
even
afraid of
happen.
everything, right, that you just separate yourself from everybody and you make sure people stay away from you.
Yeah.
And you create misery.
Rather
I
than
start
just
to
avoid
think
people.
about I start to think about things that might happen.
Right.
Yeah, this could happen
Right,
next
right,
year.
right. That is manufacturing misery.
I know.
That is manufacturing misery.
Yeah, I try not to
It's
worry
clear we
about
make our own misery, God didn't do it. So therefore, when trouble comes, cheerfully capitalize on it to demonstrate his omnipotence. So what the hell does omnipotence mean?
can you,
Hey Google,
omnipresence.
define omnipotence.
She's so smart.
Omnipotence
Omnipotent.
is used as a noun to mean the quality of having unlimited or very great power, similarly to all-powerfulness and almightiness. Do you want to hear omnipotence used in a sentence?
Yes, Google.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Yes.
You have to say what you want him to do.
Yes.
We want to hear omnipotence in a sentence.
God's
Gaia.
Call his name.
Never mind.
God's omnipotence. God's omnipotence.
Google is
shown-
omnipotent.
God's omnipotence was shown in the
Beatrice, you
parting
got
of the Red
something?
Sea through Moses.
Can you have more than one higher power?
Well, you get to choose. If you don't get the right answer from one, you go to the other. Go to page 28 again. Right, what we're asking, especially you to do, is to lay aside your prejudice. Right, lay aside prejudice. And what does the term prejudice mean?
Well, I'm Christian, so Buddhist is wrong.
Is to lay aside your preconceived ideas.
Okay.
Lay aside your preconceived ideas.
What happened with me?
Right? We're not saying that, nobody's saying that a particular God is right or wrong. All we're saying is, just, this is a wrench you're picking up. Right? This is not, call it your grandmother, call it a dog. Right? You don't have to say the word God in this program. Right? You don't have to say the word God. Call it whatever you want. Call it a widget. Right? Call it a ditch digger. It doesn't matter. My ditch digger can beat up your ditch digger. Right? So it's just a word. That's all it is. It's just a word. Right? And so just for the process of the steps, and the process of going through this, we use our own conception, not the religious conception, but our own conception. Okay? Owen, you got something?
No.
Sir?
You know, I completely forgot the question, I'm sorry. I did, I'm-
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, there's no question, right? You got something to share?
Oh, no, I'm good, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Stanley?
There are going to be like a lot of, there's going to be failures in this, and you learning the spiritual
Oh, yeah.
program. So there's, because a lot of people, like myself, but I see in a lot of people also, they get discouraged because they're writing this down and it's like the first, they're thinking this big, huge thing is gonna happen. Like this burning bush, this immediate, like I'm cured, like these behaviors are gonna go.
That's not. Somebody said something in a book study on Tuesday night, and I wish I could have corrected it then. But if I did, they probably would stop doing the book study. Right?
Does this go into the grafting and developing?
What the guy said.
I'm sorry.
What the guy said was that amends means you never do it again. Right? Have you guys been told that?
No.
Right? Have you been told
I
that?
remember he.
That's not what that means. That's not what that means. Right? So you're assuming that your character defects are never going to show their ugly head again. Right? Please, set the bar low. An amends is not, I'm never going to do this again. An amends is, how can I make this right? It's not even an apology. An amends is not an apology. It's, this is what I broke, how can I fix it? Right? Are you ever not going to break things again?
No.
Right? So what you're saying is that I'm never going to break things again. I'm never going to break this thing again.
That's not being loving or fair.
Well, that's not being realistic.
No.
Realistic.
Again, and that was somebody sharing their opinion about a program.
Okay, I do have something. This is interesting. This old Duffer showed me that you were talking about spiritual experience, and at the bottom of 25 it says there's that little star. It says fully explained, Appendix 2. Okay. Then the next page, 27, it says for amplification, go to Appendix 2.
Well, because on page 27, Dr. Young gives his definition of a spiritual experience, which is the asterisk. It's a personality change.
Okay, and then, but this is funny, he said Bill Wilson, and then on 47, they got that little star asterisk, it says, please be sure to read Appendix. So they put please there.
Did they really?
Yeah,
I've
on
never noticed that
47, I never knew that.
I never noticed that, right?
Yeah.
And so this whole thing is about this personality change. There's a price of admission for personality change. But the sad part, and we're going to wrap up the meeting with this, right? The sad part about all of this is the first time you came into AA as a sponge and wanting help, the very first thing you heard was just don't drink no matter what, play the tape all the way through, call somebody before you drink.
Yeah.
And so that is burned into your consciousness. Or 90 meetings in 90 days, right? That is burned into your consciousness.
It sets you up to fail.
You're gonna drink. You're gonna drink. Alcoholics are gonna drink.
Well, when they say that, like what I'm taking from it is like, don't trust the mind that you have. Like, I feel like that's not taking accountability. Like even now, we were just talking about it in the morning, like I can't trust this mind that I have. Like even 2 years out, I can't trust this thinking that I have because there's a part of me that